Welcome back to another training. You can see that we're going to be talking about how to stop overthinking. Before we get started, you guys can go ahead and check out suityou.org. I have the description down below. It's our website that has over 1,000 ebooks, video courses, audio courses about every single thing from money, AI, technology, mindset, creator vault, even about dating, health, energy, every single thing. You guys can access everything for just $5 a month. So starting off, we're going to be talking about that illusion of thinking, the addiction of control, the end of effort, the power of purpose, the natural end of overthinking, your daily reviews, and your actions. Okay, so if you're watching this, listening to this, or reading this, then you probably already know what it feels like to be stuck inside your own head. Maybe you are lying in the bed at night, replaying a conversation from earlier. Maybe you keep thinking about something you said wrong, something someone did to you, or something that might happen in the future. You tell yourself to stop thinking about it, but a few minutes later, you are right back in the same loop. The main thing I want you to understand is that overthinking is not the same as real thinking. Real thinking helps you solve something. Overthinking just keeps you trapped in that feeling that something needs to be solved. It feels useless, but most of the time it gives you no answer, no peace, no real control. It just keeps your mind busy while your body gets tired. The illusion of thinking, the stuck phase. The reason overthinking is so exhausting is because it feels like you cannot stop. Your mind keeps going back to the same fear, the same memory, the same question, or the same problem. Even when you know it is not helping, you still feel pulled back into it. This is what makes it feel so frustrating. It is not just thinking, it feels like your mind is running without your permission. What I want you to see is that overthinking is almost like a program running in the background. You did not choose it. You probably did not even notice when it started. But at some point, your mind learned to repeat the same thoughts because it believed those thoughts were protecting you. It believed that if you thought enough, you could stop yourself from getting hurt, making mistakes, or being surprised by life. The noise. But most of what people call thinking is not really thinking. It is mental noise. Real thinking has a direction. You sit down with a problem, you look at it clearly, you make a decision, and then you move on. Overthinking does not move like that. Overthinking spins, it repeats, it circles the same problem again and again without landing anywhere. Real thinking leaves you clearer. Overthinking leaves you heavier. Real thinking gives you a next step. Overthinking gives you another reason to worry. Real thinking ends. Overthinking keeps restarting. And that is how you can tell the difference. If you have been thinking about the same thing for days, weeks, or months, and you still feel just as confused, that is probably not thinking, that is rumination. The trap. The trap is that overthinking feels productive. It makes you feel like you are being careful. It makes you feel like you are preparing. It makes you feel like you are being responsible. But most of the time, you are not preparing for anything. You are repeating the same fear in different ways. You are not solving the problem. You are keeping the problem alive. The addiction to control. The reason people overthink is because they want control. They want to make sure nothing goes wrong. They want to make sure nobody leaves. They want to make sure they do not fail, do not look stupid, do not make the wrong choice, and do not regret something later. So the mind starts thinking because it believes thinking will create safety. Somewhere in your life, you probably learned that thinking ahead can help you avoid pain, and sometimes that is true. Planning is useful. Being careful is useful. Thinking before you act is useful, but overthinking is what happens when planning turns into panic. It is when your mind refuses to stop even after thinking is no longer helping you. Underneath overthinking is actually fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of rejection, fear of being wrong, fear of losing something, fear of not being good enough. The mind is not overthinking because it is calm. The mind overthinks because it is scared. It is trying to think its way into feeling safe, but the problem is that fear cannot always be solved by more thinking. Overthinking promises safety, but it usually gives you stress. It promises clarity, but it gives you confusion. It promises control, but it reminds you how out of control you feel. This is why it never fully satisfies you. The thing you think is helping you is often the thing keeping you trapped. Think about it honestly. If you are overthinking the past, you cannot change it. You can learn from it, but you cannot go back and rewrite it. If you are overthinking the future, you cannot fully control it. You can prepare, but you cannot predict every single thing that will happen. So your mind keeps trying to solve two things that can never fully solve: a past that is already gone and a future that is not here yet. The cycle, and this is how the cycle works. First, you feel uncertain about something. Then your mind starts thinking about it. For a moment, it feels productive, like you are doing something responsible. But then it does not actually solve anything, because some things cannot be solved by thinking. So you feel more uncertain. Then that uncertainty creates more anxiety. Then the anxiety makes you think even more. And now the loop is running. This is why overthinking can feel like an addiction. It gives you a small feeling of relief for a moment. You feel like, okay, at least I am doing something about this. But the relief does not last. Soon the fear comes back, and now you feel like you need to think again. The habit itself, it creates the anxiety, then pretends it is the cure for that anxiety. The cost, and the cost is bigger than what people realize. Overthinking takes your sleep, it takes your focus, it takes your energy. It takes your confidence. It takes your ability to enjoy the moment. You can be sitting with people you love, but mentally you are somewhere else. You can be trying to work, but your mind is stuck replaying something that already happened. This is the trade you are making. You are giving up real peace for fake control. You are giving up the present moment for imaginary safety. You are giving up your energy for problems that may never happen. And once you really see that, you start to realize how bad the deal actually is. The end of effort. Most people try to stop overthinking by trying harder. They say, I need to stop thinking. I need to control my mind. I need to force myself to calm down. But the moment you do that, you create more mental activity. Now you are thinking about not thinking. You are watching your thoughts, judging your thoughts, and getting frustrated that you still have thoughts. This adds another layer to the problem. First, you had the original worry. Now you are also worried about why you cannot stop worrying. You start asking what is wrong with you. You start judging yourself. You start trying to fix your mind with the same mind that created the loop. And this is why effort often makes overthinking worse. Willpower is not the right tool for this. You can force yourself to stop for a little while, but eventually you get tired. And when you are tired, the old loop comes back. This is why people can fight their minds for years and still feel stuck. They are trying to beat overthinking by create more thinking. The real solution is not to fight the loop. The real solution is to see the loop clearly. You have to see the overthinking gives you nothing real. It does not protect you. It does not prepare you. It does not make you smarter. It does not make you more responsible. It just steals your peace while pretending to help. Think about it like this. If someone handed you food and you find out it was poisoned, you would not need discipline to stop eating it. You would stop because you clearly saw what it was. That is the same thing with overthinking. Once you really see that it hurts you more than it helps you, the desire to keep feeding it starts to die. The power of purpose. One of the biggest reasons people overthink is because their mind has nothing real to focus on. When you have no direction, your mind creates problems. When you have no goal, your mind fills the empty space with worry. When you are not moving towards anything, your thoughts start moving in circles. Overthinking grows in empty places and space. It gets worse when you are bored, idle, lonely, or unclear about what you are doing. Your mind wants something to work on. If you do not give it something real, it will create fake problems to solve. This is why overthinking is often worse at night, when everything is quiet and there is nothing else pulling your attention. This is why actions matter so much. Clean your room, go for a walk, work on your business, go to the gym, write down your goals, finish a task, start the thing you have been avoiding. Actions pull you out of your head and puts you back into reality. You do not need to feel perfect before you move. Sometimes you move first and your mind gets clearer after. You do not need to have your whole life figured out. You just need a direction, a goal for today, a goal for this week, a skill you are building, a project you are working on. Something that gives your mind a place to go instead of letting it spin in circles. Purpose gives your mind something meaningful to do. Purpose also gives you a filter. When you know what you are trying to do, a lot of thoughts become easier to ignore. You can ask yourself, does this help me move forward? If the answer is no, then you do not need to give it your energy. Not every thought deserves your attention. Some thoughts are just distractions dressed up as important questions. The natural end of overthinking. At some point, something starts to click. You realize that overthinking has never really helped you. It made you feel busy, made you feel responsible, made you feel like you were doing something, but it did not give you peace. It did not give you real answers. It did not give you control. It only gave you more mental noise. And when you see that clearly, you do not have to force yourself to stop. You just start losing interest. Because why would you keep doing something that gives you nothing? It takes so much from you. Why would you keep giving your attention to a habit that steals your peace, your sleep, your energy, and your presence? Life without overthinking is not some perfect life where nothing bad ever happens. Problems still come, stress still comes, decisions still need to be made, but the difference is that you deal with life when it actually happens instead of living in an imaginary situation all day. You think when thinking is useful, and the rest of the time you live. You start to trust yourself more. You realize you do not need to rehearse every possible outcome before you act. You do not need to replay every conversation to understand who you are. You do not need to protect every problem before it happens. You can handle life as it comes. You can respond in a moment. You can figure out things when they are real. The real peace is not something you force. It is what is left when you stop disturbing yourself. It is not about having no thoughts. It is about not obeying every thought. It is about letting thoughts come and go without treating each one like an emergency. Review. So let's review what we talked about. Overthinking is not the same as real thinking. Real thinking has direction. Real thinking gives you clarity. Real thinking helps you make a decision or take action. Overthinking goes in circles. It repeats the same fears and leaves you more anxious than ever. Overthinking comes from the desire for control. Your mind believes that if you think enough, it can protect you from pain, mistakes, rejection, and uncertainty. But the control is fake. The future is still unknown. The past is still unchanged. And your peace keeps getting sacrificed for something that was never guaranteed. You do not stop overthinking by fighting it. Fighting your thoughts usually creates more thoughts. Trying to force your mind to be quiet often makes it louder. The way out is to see the pattern clearly and stop feeding it. You notice the loop starting, label it as overthinking, and let it pass without joining the conversation. Purpose gives your mind something to do. When you have direction, action, and something meaningful to focus on, overthinking loses power. Your energy goes into life instead of into fake problems. You stop living in your head and you start moving in the real world. The first action is to notice the loop early. The moment your mind starts replaying, predicting, arguing, or creating fake conversations, pause and call it what it is. Say, this is overthinking. Do not call it problem solving. Do not call it being careful. Just be honest with yourself. It is a mental noise. The second step is to stop feeding it. Do not argue with the thoughts. Do not try to answer every fear. Do not keep asking one more question. This is how the loop survives. Let the thought be there without giving it your attention. It might be uncomfortable at first, but the discomfort passes when you stop feeding it. Action 3 is do something real. Write down your goal for tomorrow. Clean something. Walk somewhere. Work on a project. Make a plan. Take one small action that brings you back into reality. Overthinking dies when your energy moves into action. My final message: if you have been stuck in your head for a long time, understand this. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you are not crazy. You just learn to treat every thought like it matters, but not every thought matters. Some thoughts are just noise. The moment you stop giving the noise your attention, it starts losing power. You do not need to think your way into peace. You need to stop feeding the thoughts that are stealing it. Real peace is not found by controlling your mind. It is found by no longer believing every thought deserves your energy. And if you guys have any thoughts or questions, comment down below. Let's have a discussion about it. I'll catch you guys in the next video.